Alright, what's going on, guys? So happy 2022. Hopefully I can get this video up before midnight, so it's still January 1st. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching and for supporting me. And I've just had a really great 2022 here on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to making 2023 even better. What I would like to do in this video is kind of give you a recap and maybe highlight some of my favorite catches from the last 12 months. So I'm getting more and more into being a multi-species and life listing channel, and then a little bit less and less of being like a bass channel and like a something else channel. Even though I still do like bass fishing, pan fishing, I am much more interested nowadays in just trying to catch as many different species as possible. So what I did in 2022, I ended up catching 130 new species. Now my life list is currently at 263, so almost half of the species that I've caught in my entire life I've caught in 2022. So it was just a great year for increasing the number of species that I've caught. And that's really due to two main reasons. Number one is just because I put more of an emphasis on trying to find new species. And number two, that's because I started traveling more with the main purpose being to fish. I've always loved traveling. I've traveled a lot over the last several years, but it was always the fishing was always a secondary goal when I traveled. I would go somewhere, and if I could fish, then I would fish. In 2022, that was my first year where I started taking trips with the main purpose of those trips being fishing. Now, on my YouTube channel, you have probably noticed, if you've been watching my videos kind of consistently for a while now, there is a pretty good time delay between when the video comes out and when it was filmed. That's just because I have a pretty long backlog of videos. So, for example, the videos coming out right now, I believe I filmed in June 2022, so I'm about 6 months ahead on uploads. So a lot of the fish I'm going to show you in this video have not actually been on my YouTube channel yet, but those videos will be coming out over the next couple months. So first up, I went to July. No, I didn't go to July. I went to Indianapolis in June and July. I've got about 10-11 videos from that trip. I went to Singapore in July and August. I've got 12 or 13 videos from that trip. And I went to the Canary Islands in November. I think I've got about 10 or 11 videos from that trip. So a lot of videos coming out over the next several months of some really, really cool catches from some really, really cool locations. So hope you guys can stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't, and check out those videos. And hopefully I can continue to do more of that in 2023. I'm already looking at some travel destinations because it's something I really enjoy doing. So hopefully we can increase our life list even more in 2023. But let's go back to 2022 now. I'm going to show you my life list, and I'm going to show you my favorite fish, my favorite catch, my favorite new catch from each month that was added to the life list. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Alright, so here is the Excel sheet that I use as my life list. Right now it's kind of sorted in a reverse order, so it's not going to make complete sense. But anyway, we're going to start here and then work our way up the sheet. What I would like to do is show you the highlight of each month. So we'll start here in January. The spotted scorpionfish, I believe, was the first fish I caught of the new year in 2022. Was that my favorite of January? I think it was, actually. So yeah, let me show you a picture of the spotted scorpionfish. Kind of came out of the rocks at the Boca Raton Inlet. My first scorpionfish from the East Coast. Caught one last year, which I guess now is 2 years ago, from California. But that's going to be the highlight of January. February looks like I only caught two new species. I think the cooler of the two would be the bluefin killifish. So it's a little micro. I spent some time over the last several years targeting these guys. Not sure if I was unable to find them or just unable to hook them, because you got to usually work through a whole lot of mosquito fish to get these guys, just because there's so many more mosquito fish out there and they're a little bit more aggressive. But I got one bluefin killifish and one is all it takes. So that was probably the highlight of February. Looks like March was another somewhat slow month. Two new species. What do we got here? The pike killifish and the Jack Dempsey cichlid. I think the pike killifish was cooler. So let me show you a picture of the pike killifish. It's a little non-native from Central America. I believe they're very common in Belize and kind of the surrounding area. Right now, they're found in the Everglades, I think in the Tampa area as well. This guy was another surprise. Wasn't expecting this guy. He just kind of hit a lure that I was fishing for some juvenile snook. Let's take a look here and move on to February. Actually, I missed the Spanish hogfish. That was in March too, but I still think the pike killifish is cooler. Anyway, let's move on to April. 4 new species in April, and I think the sheep's head minnow is going to be the highlight of the month of April. Was actually targeting snook, and I saw these little micros that looked like either sheep's head minnows or like some sort of killifish close to shore. So I kind of switched tactics. I targeted these guys. Took me a while, but I finally got one to bite. And just like with the bluefin killifish, one is all it takes. So we got a nice little sheep's head minnow, which I believe is going to be the highlight of April. May was a pretty good month, looks like. Let's move on to May here. Got a lot of choices. Cool, couple pair. Oh, this was a good month. Couple parrotfish. Actually, yeah, more than a couple parrotfish. But let's see. This is going to be a tough choice, but I think the highlight's going to be the banded sunfish. There's a lot of really good options here in May. This is going to be the highlight though, because I've spent many trips up to North Florida trying to find these guys, and I've always come up empty. And then I ended up fishing a little kind of flooded puddle, which I have fished many times before. Usually I get blue spotted sunfish and mud sunfish out of there. This time though, we got lucky and got not only one but two banded sunfish out of that same puddle. So I think that's going to be the highlight of the month of May. But just so many really cool options that I could have chose from this month. I guess May was a really good month. Move on to June. Oh, June was another good month because that's when I started traveling. Oh man, this is going to get tougher and tougher as we get into the summer. A lot of new species from the month of June because I spent 3 weeks in Indianapolis. I was up there for work, but I did have mornings off most days, so I was able to get out and fish. And I think the highlight is going to be the orange throat darter. It's only the second ever darter that I've caught, and the first darter that has these really nice colors. I caught a shield darter a couple of years ago in New Jersey. Those are just kind of brown, tan, and black. The orange throat darter has some really nice blue and orange colors, and I worked really hard over a couple day stretch to get these guys, and this one was a really good looking fish. Now, July is going to be another tough one. This was probably my best month, only because I went to Singapore. And do I want to just pick one, or do I want to break my rule? I think I'm gonna still just keep one. I don't want to break my rule. So let's see. It was just such a great month. I think I ended up catching like 60 something new species for the month of, not for the month of July, but for my Singapore trip. I think it was actually 60 on the dot. This is gonna be a tough choice. Oh man. Oh man. You know what? Ah, let me just pick this one. The bristle-tail filefish. I might find one later on that I like more, but let's go with this one for now. So I really like filefish just because they are a really unique looking species of fish. And I kind of caught this one as a bycatch. I just dropped my little Tanago hook down, a little pier piling, and this bristle tail came up, which is a little bit rarer. If you notice right below it is the fan-bellied filefish. Those are usually pretty common. I caught that a few minutes earlier, and the bristle tail filefish just looks way cooler, I think. Yeah, wow, so many fish in the month of July here. Let's go into August. Slows down a little bit. I got a couple from Singapore still. Let's see, my favorite would probably be the eyed flounder. Caught this one actually in Riviera Beach. Kind of just dropped a little bit of shrimp from the pier and ended up pulling this guy up. What I changed on this day is normally I fish shrimp kind of above the sinker, a few inches above the ground. This day I had my shrimp all the way on the ground on like a longer piece of line, and I think being on the ground helped with this guy a lot. So that was a cool catch. My first flounder from Florida. Looks like I got nothing in September. That's a little bit of a disappointment. A couple fish in October. Highlight is going to be, I think, the Molly Miller Blanny. So fished the Boca Raton in a little lot. Knew these guys were found there. I have not been able to find one. And then actually I was fishing a different spot, and then I got a little annoyed by this family that came over and started fishing right next to me. So I walked away and I fished this other little secluded spot that it's kind of on kind of, you got to walk down some rocks. So I was kind of by myself, and I pulled this little guy out of some rocks. So if that family didn't come over to annoy me, I would not have caught this guy. So thank you, annoying family. If we go into November, November was another good month because I traveled some more. I went over to the Canary Islands, which are a Spanish territory. Oh, but there's also another fish. Oh, okay. So I went to Spain. I caught some fish in Spain, but then I also caught these two fish here in Florida, and I got to go with the Florida fish just because I like this one a lot better. Scrawled cowfish. This is a fish I wanted to catch for a couple years now. They're relatively common in South Florida, but they have eluded me until I made a trip down to the Florida Keys, and I ended up catching two of these on the same day. Just a really, really cool and unique looking fish. And unfortunately, that kind of overtakes this fish species I caught over in Spain. And then, unfortunately, looks like we got nothing in December either. Now that I'm thinking back, I think I only fished 2, maybe 3 days in December, so I didn't get a chance to fish a lot. But yeah, so that's gonna do it. So one fish from each month, and this was just a really, really great year. I really kind of focused on life listing and traveling some more, and I had a really great time doing it. So hopefully I can do more of that in 2023 and catch some more new species for the life list. So hope you guys like this little wrap up. A lot of these videos are going to be coming up over the next couple months, so stay tuned. Got a lot of great videos from Indianapolis, Singapore, and the Canary Islands. So stay tuned to that. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a great 2023.